Hello, you're watching Proactive. I'm joined by Royal Road Minerals CEO Tim Coughlin. Tim, very good to speak with you. And of course, you're out with good news that Royal Road Arabia, your joint venture in Saudi, has qualified for the country's Exploration Enablement Program. Tell us a bit more about that, Tim.
Thanks. Good to see you, Stephen. Yes, that's correct. A little bit more about it. So, essentially, it's an initiative. Well, basically, it's an initiative by the Saudi government to promote grassroots, particularly exploration in Saudi Arabia. And I suppose it recognizes the fact that that for the last 10 years or so, grassroots or early stage exploration hasn't been the flavor of the decade for the financial sector, and so they're helping out. Um, it's for the first 5 years of each license, so it's a maximum of $2 million as a refund, a reimbursement, essentially, with some conditions, certain percentages of different cost items are reimbursed up to a specific cap. But essentially, it's there to encourage grassroots exploration in an environment that is pretty much entirely grassroots.
So, Tim, your project, Jabal Sahabiya, that actually has three exploration licenses. So you have started work on those licenses. Would you be able to claim on all three licenses?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, so it's all three licenses, and it's from from year one. So our year one started, I think, strictly in June of this year. So from June of this year onwards, we can claim back these percentages of expenses.
So obviously great that Saudi Arabia has this program in place, Tim. Where's the financial sector with financing?
Well, I mean, that's a great question. And I do put my head on the block to be and sacrifice myself when it comes to this argument quite a bit because, I think the financial sector needs to pay attention. It hasn't for 10 years. There's been this sort of mundane and pedestrian focus on the so-called advanced project, which, with 10 years of retrospect, I think we can say we can make this sort of the firm observation that hasn't worked for anybody. We're now sort of desperately seeking resources, or at least we will be in the coming years. So, exploration hasn't been funded. There was an interesting, which I would encourage your listeners, interesting report put out by S&P this week, and it's all there basically. So I would encourage your listeners, your readers, and whoever's watching this to take a look at that. Um, a quick summary, if I get this right, is that it looked at sort of copper discoveries from 1990 up to 2023, 239 projects of plus 500,000 ounces. And it found that only 14 of those have been found in the last 10 years. And in fact, 70% of the aggregate copper in that whole in that 200 odd deposits was found in the first 10 years, 1990 to the year 2000. So there it is, in fairly objective figures for people to make an observation on. I sense my feeling is that the financial sector's coming around to this out of necessity rather than design. But I'm optimistic. This can't go on forever. Exploration needs to be supported, and we are feeling, not just from Saudi Arabia, but also from our friends in the financial sector, some renewed interest.
Well, some good news on that exploration enablement program. I hope you'll keep us updated on those projects as you continue to explore.
Will do. Thanks, Stephen. Much appreciated.
That's Royal Road Minerals CEO Tim Coughlin.